The year is 1892. A stifling heat hangs over Fall River, Massachusetts, among the grand Victorian houses lining 2nd Street. A darkness is about to unfold, a story that will stain the town's history forever.
Lizzie Borden, a woman of 32, found herself caught in the suffocating confines of Victorian society.
Unmarried and living under her father's roof, she yearned for a life beyond the expectations of her time. Lizzie's days were a monotonous cycle of domesticity, church socials, and the stifling company of her stepmother, Abby. The relationship between Lizzie and her stepmother was strained, a constant source of tension within the Borden household. Whispers of disagreements and simmering resentments followed them like shadows. Boredom, resentment, and a desperate longing for freedom fueled a fire within her. As the heat of the summer intensified, so did the pressures that bound Lizzie. Little did anyone know that the quiet, unassuming Lizzie Borden was about to become the central figure in a shocking and brutal crime.
Andrew Borden, Lizzie's father, was a stern and frugal man.
Andrew was a man of routine, his life governed by the clock and the pursuit of financial gain. Abby Borden, Andrew's second wife, was a woman constantly trying to find her place within the Borden family. Despite her efforts to be accepted, she remained an outsider, her presence a constant reminder of the past and the changes it had wrought upon the family.
The relationship between Lizzie and her older sister Emma was a complex tapestry of love, rivalry, and shared secrets.
Emma, the elder by 7 years, often found herself caught between her headstrong sister and their demanding father. Despite their differences, the Borden sisters shared an unbreakable bond, a loyalty forged in the crucible of their unusual family dynamics. As the summer of 1892 wore on, the oppressive heat seemed to magnify the emotional turmoil brewing within the Borden family, creating a pressure cooker atmosphere that was ripe for tragedy.
August 4th, 1892, dawned like any other summer day in Fall River.
But within the walls of the Borden home at 92 2nd Street, an unsettling stillness hung in the air, a harbinger of the horror that was about to unfold. Andrew Borden, a man of strict routine, left the house early that morning to attend to his business affairs in town. Lizzie and Emma, bound by the stifling heat and the suffocating expectations of Victorian society, moved through their morning routines with a sense of unease. Abby Borden, ever the dutiful housewife, busied herself with household chores. Little did she know that her every step was leading her towards a gruesome fate. The morning wore on, the heat intensifying with each passing hour. Bridget Sullivan, the Borden's Irish maid, went about her chores, her thoughts drifting towards the respite she hoped to find in the cool shade of the backyard.
Around 10:45 a.m., I heard Lizzie's piercing scream coming from the top of the stairs. The blood drained from my face.
Her name echoed through the house, each syllable heavy with terror. Bridget rushed to Lizzie's side, her pulse pounding in her ears.
Father's dead. Someone's killed him.
Bridget, her legs trembling, stepped into the guest bedroom. Andrew Borden lay sprawled on the bed, his lifeless eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. Panic seized the house on 2nd Street. Bridget, her voice trembling, ran to find Lizzie. They had to alert someone to get help.
Bridget, go fetch Dr. Bowen.
Lizzie, in a state of shock, sent Bridget to fetch Dr. Bowen, the family physician. Her voice was a hollow echo, her words barely audible above the pounding of her own heart. Dr. Bowen arrived to a scene of chaos and despair. The news of Andrew Borden's brutal murder spread through the house like wildfire, igniting a frenzy of fear and speculation.
The police were summoned, their arrival heralding the beginning of an investigation that would grip the nation.
The tranquility of the quiet summer day was shattered, replaced by the harsh glare of scrutiny and the chilling realization that a murderer walked among them. As the police began their investigation, their attention quickly focused on Lizzie Borden. Her whereabouts during the murders were unclear, her demeanor erratic, her explanations riddled with inconsistencies. The seeds of suspicion, once sown, quickly took root.
Despite my protestations of innocence, I found myself at the center of a rapidly escalating investigation.
The police, sensing a potential break in the case, subjected her to hours of relentless questioning. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across Fall River, one thing became terrifyingly clear. Lizzie Borden was no longer just a grieving daughter. She was the prime suspect in a brutal double murder. The Borden house, once a place of domesticity, transformed into a crime scene.
Officer George W. Allen, a seasoned lawman with a reputation for thoroughness, took charge of the investigation. His keen eyes missed nothing as he surveyed the scene. The brutality of the murders, the sheer savagery of the attacks, sent a chill down his spine.
The house offered a macabre tableau. Bloodstains, dark and ominous, stained the floors and walls, painting a gruesome picture of the struggle that had taken place. The murder weapons, believed to be axes, were missing, adding another layer of complexity to the already puzzling case.
As the officers meticulously documented the scene, questioning the occupants and searching for any shred of evidence, the weight of the task pressed down upon them.
Days turned into nights as the investigation continued, each passing hour deepening the mystery surrounding the Borden murders. In the basement, amidst a jumble of discarded household items, Officer Allen made a chilling discovery. Resting against a wall, partially hidden behind a broken crate, lay a hatchet. Its handle was wrapped in a cloth as if an attempt had been made to conceal it. The hatchet, though cleaned, bore faint traces of what appeared to be blood. The fate of Lizzie Borden, already hanging precariously in the balance, now rested on the silent testimony of this incriminating piece of evidence. As news of the hatchet's discovery spread through Fall River, so did the whispers and rumors surrounding Lizzie Borden. Lizzie's every move was scrutinized, her every word dissected and analyzed. Her seemingly calm demeanor in the face of such tragedy struck many as unnatural, further fueling suspicions about her involvement in the crime. The townspeople, bound together by fear and fascination, traded gossip like currency, each whispered conversation adding fuel to the fire of speculation.
Lizzie, once a relatively anonymous figure in Fall River, became the subject of intense scrutiny and speculation. She was no longer just a grieving daughter, but a figure of mystery, her name forever linked to the gruesome crime that had stained the soul of their town.
On August 11, 1892, just 1 week after the grisly discovery of her parents' bodies, Lizzie Borden was arrested for their murders. The news traveled through Fall River like a shockwave, splitting the town into two distinct camps.
They think I did it. They really think I killed them.
There were those who believed in Lizzie's innocence, seeing her as a victim of circumstance, a woman unjustly accused in the court of public opinion.
I am innocent. I loved my father and my stepmother.
Others, swayed by the circumstantial evidence and fueled by the relentless tide of rumors, saw Lizzie as a cold-blooded killer, a woman capable of unspeakable acts. The arrest of Lizzie Borden sent shockwaves through not only Fall River but the entire nation. The case, with its gruesome details and its air of mystery, captivated the public's imagination, becoming a macabre spectacle that played out on the front pages of newspapers across the country. The granite courthouse in New Bedford, Massachusetts, loomed large, a symbol of justice and the weight of the law. Inside its hallowed halls, the trial of Lizzie Borden, a spectacle that had captivated the nation for months, was about to begin.
I must stay strong. I must show them that I am innocent.
Lizzie, dressed in somber black, her face pale but composed, sat at the defense table, a solitary figure caught in the glare of the gaslight and the unrelenting scrutiny of the jury, the court, and the nation. The prosecution, led by the formidable Hosea M. Knowlton, was determined to prove Lizzie's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They painted a picture of a woman driven to murder by resentment, greed, and a desire for freedom from the constraints of her Victorian life.
They twist my words. They don't understand.
The defense, spearheaded by the renowned legal mind of George Robinson, aimed to dismantle the prosecution's case piece by piece, casting doubt on their theories and highlighting the lack of direct evidence linking Lizzie to the crimes. They portrayed Lizzie as a loving daughter, a victim of circumstance, unjustly accused and tried in the court of public opinion before she even stepped foot in the courtroom. The prosecution called a string of witnesses to the stand, each testimony adding another thread to the intricate tapestry of circumstantial evidence they were weaving around Lizzie.
That morning I found them, Mr. Borden and Mrs. Borden. It was horrible, and Lizzie, she seemed so calm, so detached.
Medical experts provided graphic testimony about the nature of the victim's wounds, the brutality of the attacks, and the estimated time of death. Their words painted a vivid and disturbing picture of the violence that had unfolded within the walls of the Borden home. Neighbours and acquaintances were called to the stand, their testimonies a mixture of hearsay, suspicion and observation. They spoke of Lizzie's strained relationship with her stepmother, her desire for independence, and her seemingly cold and unemotional response to the tragedy.
They don't know me. They don't know what really happened.
One witness, Alice Russell, a close friend of Lizzie's, provided a particularly damaging testimony. She recounted a peculiar incident that occurred just days after the murders. Lizzie, claiming she needed to burn a dress that had been stained with paint, had set fire to it in the kitchen stove. The prosecution seized upon this detail, suggesting that the dress had been stained not with paint but with blood, and that Lizzie, in a moment of panic, had attempted to destroy evidence linking her to the crimes.
It was just paint. It was just paint.
And so, the net of circumstantial evidence tightened around Lizzie, each thread a potential link to the gruesome events of that fateful day. Section 3. The defense takes the stage, casting doubt on the accusation. The defense countered the prosecution's narrative with a carefully constructed defense strategy, chipping away at the credibility of the state's witnesses and highlighting the lack of direct evidence connecting Lizzie to the murders.
They emphasized my whereabouts during the crucial time period when the murders are believed to have taken place, pointing out that no blood was found on my clothing or person.
They called character witnesses to the stand, friends and acquaintances who painted a picture of Lizzie as a kind, gentle, and church-going woman, incapable of the horrific acts of which she was accused.
They spoke of her love for her father, her close bond with her sister, and her quiet, unassuming nature.
The defense also skillfully cross-examined the prosecution's witnesses, highlighting inconsistencies in their testimonies and raising questions about their motives for testifying against Lizzie.
They questioned my recollection of events, suggesting that my memory might be clouded by the trauma of that day.
They challenged the medical expert's estimated time of death, introducing the possibility that the murders could have occurred while Lizzie was demonstrably elsewhere.
Throughout the trial, I maintained my innocence, my composure unwavering under the intense scrutiny of the courtroom and the nation.
Her stoic demeanor, while unsettling to some, was interpreted by others as a sign of her strength and her unwavering belief in her own innocence. After weeks of testimony, dramatic courtroom confrontations, and intense deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. The courtroom, packed to capacity, fell silent, the air thick with anticipation.
Not guilty.
The words echoed through the courtroom, met with gasps and murmurs from the gathered crowd. Lizzie, her body trembling slightly, closed her eyes, a single tear rolling down her cheek. The verdict, while met with relief by her supporters, sparked outrage and disbelief among those who believed her guilty. Lizzie Borden, once the prime suspect in a brutal double murder, was a free woman, but the cloud of suspicion, the whispers and rumors would follow her for the rest of her days. The trial, while officially closed, left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. its unanswered questions and lingering doubts fueling endless speculation and debate. The Borden murders and the subsequent trial of Lizzie Borden became a defining moment in American legal history, a case that exposed the complexities of the justice system, the power of circumstantial evidence, and the enduring fascination with crime and punishment. It was a case that captivated a nation, divided a town, and left an enduring legacy of mystery and intrigue. The courtroom doors swung open, releasing Lizzie Borden back into a world forever changed by the events of that summer. She was free from the legal charges against her, but the cloud of suspicion, the whispers and the sidelong glances followed her like shadows. The not guilty verdict did not erase the stain of accusation, the doubt that lingered in the air.
Lizzie and Emma, their family fractured, their lives irrevocably altered, retreated into a secluded existence. They moved from the house on 2nd Street, a constant reminder of the horrors that unfolded within its walls, to a stately mansion in a more affluent part of Fall River. They called it Maplecroft, a name that hinted at a fresh start, a chance to escape the whispers and rebuild their lives.
But the past was not easily outrun. The townspeople, their curiosity piqued, their opinions divided, continued to speculate about that fateful August day. Some shunned Lizzie, their eyes filled with suspicion and distrust. Others offered hesitant smiles, their words laced with a mixture of fascination and fear. Lizzie, once a quiet, unassuming figure, was now an object of morbid fascination, her name forever etched in the annals of true crime. Despite her attempts to create a new life for herself, to find solace in philanthropy and the company of a select few, Lizzie could never escape the shadow of the trial. The whispers followed her, a constant reminder of the suspicions that clung to her like a shroud. She lived out her days in a gilded cage of her own making, both free and imprisoned by the events that had come to define her. The trial of Lizzie Borden, though meticulously documented and intensely scrutinized, failed to provide definitive answers to the questions that haunted the nation. The lack of a murder weapon, the absence of eyewitnesses, and the conflicting testimonies created a puzzle that has baffled historians and armchair detectives for over a century. Theories abound, each attempting to shed light on the events of that August morning. Some believe Lizzie acted alone, driven to desperation by a strained family dynamic and a desire for freedom. Others posit that she had an accomplice, perhaps a disgruntled servant or a secret lover, who helped her carry out the murders and then vanished without a trace. The possibility of an intruder, a stranger who entered the Borden home with malice in his heart, has also been explored, but no concrete evidence has ever surfaced to support this theory, leaving it firmly in the realm of speculation. The passage of time has only deepened the mystery, blurring the lines between fact and fiction. The Borden murders have become a fertile ground for speculation, inspiring countless books, documentaries, and fictionalized accounts, each offering its own interpretation of the events and the motivations of those involved. The truth, elusive and tantalizing, remains just out of reach, hidden behind a veil of time, speculation, and unanswered questions. The Borden murders, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives, continue to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. The story of Lizzie Borden, a tale of familial strife, brutal violence, and enduring mystery, has transcended the confines of the courtroom and the history books to become a cultural phenomenon. It has seeped into the fabric of American folklore, its themes of suspicion, betrayal, and the dark side of the American family resonating across generations. The case, with its gruesome details and its cast of intriguing characters, has captured the imagination of writers, artists, and filmmakers for over a century. From chilling true crime narratives to haunting fictionalized accounts, from macabre plays to popular songs and nursery rhymes, the legend of Lizzie Borden continues to be told and retold, each iteration adding new layers of intrigue and interpretation. The house on 2nd Street, once a place of tragedy, has been transformed into a bed and breakfast, its rooms preserved to reflect the era of the murders. Guests from around the world flocked to Fall River, drawn by the allure of the macabre, eager to spend a night within the walls where history unfolded. They wander the hallways, their footsteps echoing through the silence, their imaginations conjuring up images of that fateful August day. The story of Lizzie Borden, a tale whispered in hushed tones and recounted around campfires, serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of innocence, the power of suspicion, and the enduring allure of the unknown. It is a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, to captivate and repel, its legacy as enduring and enigmatic as the case itself.